Hello, everyone. I am Shalini Goyal Bhalla, Managing Director of International Council for Circular Economy. We are again here today with Mr. Anand on the second episode of the sixth season of the Circular Chat. Mr. Puneet Anand is the AVP and Vertical Head of Corporate Affairs, Corporate Communication, and Social at Hyundai Motors India. Mr. Puneet is an automobile professional with over 28 years of experience in automobile marketing, sales, service operations, corporate social responsibility, and government relations. He has been associated with Hyundai since 1998. He holds a master's degree in business administration from Korea University Business School. He is currently responsible for developing and implementing strategic communications to enhance brand reputation, drive social impact, and align strategies to Hyundai's sustainability goals. Welcome, Mr. Anand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for introducing it. It's a great honor to be part of this August, session. I think this is the topic which is very, very dear to our heart. At Hyundai, we always believe that circular economy, as well as adding value to the nation and also to the economic social chain, is something which is very meaningful, especially for us being an automotive OEM who have a lot of infrastructure and EV ecosystem and also various vendor base. I think this is the right time when we as a company and as a nation should start looking into the circular economy. And I think the Honorable Prime Minister has already laid the path a couple of years back, and it's now for us, for the industry, to really tread on that path and take it forward.
Wonderful. Mr. Anand, since you come from the automobile background and you're also from the Korean University of Business Administration, Korea has been a pioneer in automobile industry for to say and has been leading specifically in the Indian market for a long time now. Automobile sector also sees certain policies like the vehicle scrap policy that has come, that has been introduced. And I'm sure with petrol vehicles phasing out after 10 years and diesel after 15, how is the automobile industry looking at this transition from the circular perspective, and what are the changes that this automobile industry is introducing?
Thank you. In fact, I'd just like to correct, it's the other way around. Petrol vehicles, 15
Oh,
years,
sorry.
diesel
Yes,
vehicles,
50.
10 years.
Yeah.
But I think that's, when we look at the traditional Indian automotive industry, we are talking of a large ICE platform, which is the internal combustion engines.
Yeah.
Now, the government, couple of years back, especially the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, they brought a very meaningful policy, which is the vehicle scrappage policy. Basically, this vehicle scrappage policy is part of the circular economy policy, the EPR, which we call as the new policy, which the government will very shortly be announcing. Now, extended producer responsibility is the core theme of this entire gamut of operations. And we, being a responsible, producer, it's also our responsibility that whatever we are producing at a particular moment of time should also be able to, channelize itself into a meaningful end, so that really we can get benefit, we can add value to our value chain, and also make India one of the most green manufacturing technologies. Now, having said that, with the coming up of the EPR laws and also the vehicle scrappage platform, at Hyundai, we have always been very meaningful and thoughtful on these plans. We are of the vision, which is called Progress of for Humanity. And under that, we have three core pillars, which is the pillar of Earth, the pillar of mobility, and the pillar of hope. And under all these three pillars, whether it is in terms of circular economy, waste management, and also in terms of green economy, we have been working upon on various platforms, be it our manufacturing site, be it our dealership operations, or even at our headquarters. We are doing a lot of new innovations which are helping us to really address this concern. Now, we, as everyone says, three R's of economy are very important. It is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, why do I say that thing? Why? Because today, let's see, Gurugram, which is the place where our headquarters is situated, is now grappling with the economy and a problem of waste management. I'm sure people who are from Gurugram and the allied areas like Delhi must have seen mounds and mounds of waste, areas where the lot of material is being dumped every day. The Gurgaon administration is having this heat. Delhi administration is having this heat. So we as a responsible corporate citizen have started working upon programs which not only help the government but also the society as a whole to really partner in this program. For example, I'll just like to share, I'll start off with a very meaningful initiative which we started 2 years back. This initiative is called the MRF, or the Material Recovery Facility, but we very fondly call it the ecogram. And why we call it ecogram? Because it is not only a facility to recover and recycle the waste management, but also it helps us to produce electricity, which can be fed back into the system and it can be reused for the benefit of the society. This ecogram was set up around 2 years back, and it has a capacity to recycle 2 tons of wet waste and 7 tons of dry waste every day. And this wet waste we are collecting from more than 2,000 societies in Gurugram. This wet waste every day is being fed into a biogas chamber where a biogas is being produced, and that biogas is being converted into electricity, which is then helped to run the material recovery facility. Not only this, from various recyclers, we are also collecting dry waste, and this dry waste also is being channeled into making useful products. So what we are doing is we are not only reducing the carbon footprint, because lot of these government vehicles would actually be carrying this trash to the dumping yards. Now they are not going anywhere; they are just going to our material recovery facility, which is just within the heart of the city. It is a tie-up between Gurgaon administration, Municipal Corporation of Gurugram, and Hyundai Motor India Foundation. And till now, we've already recycled around 1100 plus tons of dry waste and wet waste in the last 2 years. So, what we have done is that we have utilized a standalone place, made a very meaningful center, and because of the success which this center has received, the administration is now recommending other companies, other OEMs, other entrepreneurs to set up these material recovery facilities. And we are also now going to tie up with Guwahati Municipal Corporation to set up an even bigger ecogram, which will be having a capacity of 10 tons every day. So, to make a problem and then make a solution is something which I think, as a circular economy, we are all focusing upon. And I think this is the initiative which we are very proud of. And we feel that if everyone comes forward, the issue of this waste management and waste recycling will be very easily taken care of.
That's great to see, Mr. Anand, that you talk about how you're managing the wet waste and the dry waste at the ecogram. But at the same time, when we talk about the EPR that will be coming in the automobile sector and the vehicle scrappage policy, also talks about recycling and dismantling of the automobiles uh, going
Come.
forward. But one thing that still remains a challenge in India is collection of these vehicles, the old age vehicles.
Mhm.
There are certain policies, and some companies are introducing take back programs, incentivization on bringing up the old vehicle. But at the same time, how does or what is the strategy that Hyundai is going to kind of implement in order to take back these vehicles and dismantle or kind of recycle them in a responsible manner?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And let me take you an year back where first the vehicle scrappage policy was set up.
Yeah.
Now, after having set up the guidelines for the vehicle scrappage center, the center is now working upon with all the state governments, because each and every state government has to mandate the vehicle scrappage facility. Because what happens, there are certain certificates which need to be garnered. Whenever you are recycling a car, you need to give a certificate to the customer so that he can claim some kind of an incentive from the state government. Therefore, the overall vehicle scrapping facility also becomes the domain of the state governments. We are very closely working with especially governments of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, where our plants are situated, wherein we can come up with this kind of a vehicle scrappage policy, which helps us to make these certificates available to the consumers. Now, in that way, not only we are planning a third party kind of a setup wherein we'll be working along with various stakeholder parties. We already have many tie-ups wherein our dealerships, which is the ultimate supplier of the cars, are working with these materials facilities, getting the used car from the market, giving the certificates to the customer, also passing on meaningful incentives as has been directed by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, and then recovering these material like say tire, batteries, oil, and the steel. But I must tell you that since it's a very humble step, there are the progress is little slow. The Ministry of Road Transport also has come across these issues, and they are trying to address it in a very, very positive manner. Because of this, now EPR policy, which is in the draft state, once that comes, it will really help to make a meaningful contribution, because under the EPR policy, it will become a mandate for the OEMs to recover, say, steel, which is the major component of an automobile, around 8 to 10%, whatever is being envisaged. Right now, the draft policy has come, but suppose 8% of steel for the products which we manufactured 15 years back.
Yeah.
Once that kind of a policy will come, then the OEMs will have a lot of motivation to start collecting these cars and then reusing this material, especially in terms of EPR. So what we feel is that with these laws coming very soon, and I think the ministry has already given the draft and they are waiting for the final recommendations from the stakeholders. It is now the next phase in terms of implementation of these laws. And then with various stakeholders like the state government, the dealership bodies, the OEMs, and also the channel partners, it will be easy to set up. Currently, India has close to around 35 or 40 material recovery facilities or these scrappage centers, which I think will not do justice to the kind of volumes which we have created over the last couple of years.
Exactly.
So that's where it's a slow beginning, it's a humble beginning, but I'm very confident that very soon this will be a big reality and we will see all these laws being adopted very strongly by all the stakeholders in the chain, not only OEMs, but also the vendors, the tier 1 suppliers, the tier 2 suppliers, the tier 3 suppliers, so that this becomes a part and parcel of everyone's operations.
Right. You're right, Mr. Anand, that once the EPR comes, there will be a reverse supply chain automatically built, or let's say the OEMs will have a incentive to kind of work on it. But at the same time, there are a lot of vehicles that are parked on the sides or in the bylanes of our cities, and
Mhm.
they are humongous. So, if you go to any old society, you will easily see old vehicles that have been kind of parked there for years and years, which have not been kind of.
Mhm.
Is there any movement from, or any kind of initiation that the industry is taking or OEMs are taking to move these unmobilized vehicles uh, to material, to kind of recover the material from these sources?
Yeah, so I'll be very honest in this. So I'll tell you, see, today when a customer is owning a car, it is his property. As an OEM, our job is to give some benefit to the consumer and kind of advise him that if he or she is recycling their old car, which is more than 15 years old and has lived its life, we will be giving them a scrappage certificate with which they can trade off a good value or an incentive, not only in terms of the purchase of the new car, but also support from the state government in terms of road tax or registration, which can ultimately reduce the overall first purchase cost of the car. But at the same time, I also would say that state government also has to play a very important role, because the registration of the cars is a state government prerogative. All the cars which are lying on road, say for example Delhi or maybe Gurugram or Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, each of them have a registration number which is very specific to that particular state. So it is also a state's responsibility to ensure that they have the way of mechanism wherein they can advise the consumer, or maybe if the consumer is ready to give the car on a voluntary basis, can be taken, and it can be taken to a well established material recovery center or the scrappage center as we call. So as we said that, say for example Delhi government couple of months back had started this initiative. They took many of the cars and it also went to some material recovery facilities. But it's a very big task.
Yeah.
Sometimes the customer is not available, sometimes the cars are not visible, so it has to be a program which has to be voluntarily coming from the people. And that's where OEMs can play a very important role through educating the people in terms of the benefits of recovering or recycling the cars of the manufacturer. And once this becomes a mass scale, all OEMs, whether it is Hyundai or A or B or C, other OEMs, will all of them will start this on a national basis. Recently, we were at FICCI, wherein a discussion was happening on this. So there is, we also advertised that we should bring a mass advertising program from a central body, because it is a requirement of everyone. Today, a company A or a company B needs the consumers to come forward and become educated. So, if we can do a national based advertising program wherein people can be convinced on the usage of recovery, recycling, then they will come forward, give their cars on voluntary basis. OEMs will give them scrappage certificates, and that's how we will be able. In fact, government also started this initiative of saying that first the public used cars, like say state government cars,
Yeah.
which are already more than 15 years old, they should be brought. There are almost 1.5 million cars which are like this. But again, the progress has been a little slow because of various challenges which are involved in this. So as I mentioned, that it's a very good scheme, but it will take some time for the people to really come into that kind of a mindset, and also the state governments to really charge up their machinery so that each and everyone is ready to receive this vehicle. Then scrappage of the steel components and other things. Currently, to my knowledge, the each of the scrappage center which are there in the country presently are running at around 20 to 25% kind of a utilization only. So there's
Right.
a lot of scope which is there, and once everyone comes on a same platform, when the education becomes very relevant, I'm sure this will further improve to 50%, 100%, and we'll have a good facility coming up very soon. Any which ways, we are all hoping that by next financial year, we should be looking at a very big picture in terms of the EPR laws.
Very rightly said, Mr. Anand. Awareness of people and the government felicitating uh, the policy to implement at the ground level. I think these are the two primary things. Once the policy is there, to look into implementation at the right step, as a right step. Now, coming back to it, I think if we take examples from the EPR in plastics, it is again educating the customer. If it is about electronics, it again come to the customer, because we have to, as individuals, know that we have to responsibly dump our waste, and or maybe give it to the responsible recycler so that it is recycled in a very responsible manner. That also brings me to another point, Mr. Anand. I know, and I must congratulate Hyundai for the EV Ionic, which has been a great success and a beautiful car, I must say. But at the same time, I also read about the Ionic Forest initiative by you. That sounds really good. While on the one hand, you are introducing electronic vehicle, you are also looking at the forest. So how would you correlate this
Okay.
transition of Hyundai, and what is the environmental kind of understanding behind this initiative?
I think you have caught the right pulse. Ionic is a very futuristic car. In fact, not only it got the Indian Car of the Year award, it also got the World Car of the Year awards. And
Okay.
subsequently, the second edition, which was the Ionic 6, also went on to become the World Car of the Year. In the global scenario. Now, with the brand Ionic, we want to create the future mobility solutions. Very soon in the coming Bharat Mobility Show, we are going to launch our Creta electric vehicle also. So we are
Okay.
very much focused on the future of future mobility. We are focused on environmental conscious cars. We are focused on the alternate powertrains going forward for India, so that we can make India as a meaningful mobility hub for the global markets and an example for others to follow. Now, when this program was being envisaged, this ionic forest, I would say it's not that only after the ionic we started this thing, but in various other forms or various other names, we have been doing lot of initiatives under our initiative, as I called as Earth. Because as I said, that we have a vision called Progress of Humanity. Under that, we have first pillar is Earth. Earth
Right.
talks about all the waste management programs, green initiatives. In fact, I will go as early as 4 years in 2020 with the government of Tamil Nadu to start with the pilot. We created our first ionic forest. Basically, it is called OSR land, which was a vacant land lying at the government of Tamil Nadu in their industrial park, which was being abused. People were coming, they were using all non legal activities, and the government also was little worried that what will happen, because this is an industrial area, and some people come and they misuse that area. So we said, you give us this land. So 12.16 acre of barren land was taken by Hyundai in 2020, and over the last couple of years we have planted 5,500 plus native trees in that forest. And today, each of that tree is more than 15 to 17 feet tall. And it has become a lush green forest near to the lake, which is in Chennai. And it has become an example for the other OEMs to follow. So the government is so happy that some of their senior management, including the deputy CM and other senior officers, have come and they've seen this model, and we are running this model for the last 4 years. Not only we are employing the local tribal people, there are around 15 Irula tribal families who did not have any wherewithal to earn money. So we employed them in this ionic forest in Tamil Nadu, which we call as the OSR land, and they have been, not only sowing the native plants but also small things like the vegetables, some fruits, and they're selling it to the market and earning money. So a barren piece of land which was full of dirt and waste is now become a lush forest with all proper parking, and people are coming to celebrate picnics. We are taking our employees every occasion to do the tree plantation. So we started off with 2,000 trees, then 4,000. Now we have more than 5,500 trees. So this was one concept which was a public private partnership. So now it has become so successful that Irangatu Kotai area where this OSR land is located, is being set as an example by the Tamil Nadu government for others. But we did not even stop here. In 2022, we were very much satisfied the progress of the USR land. So in Andhra Pradesh, there is a district called Kurnool. In Kurnool, there is a very poor tribe. In fact, they are the poorest tribe people of India, which is called the Chenchu tribe. These people were allotted around 250 acres of land by the Andhra Pradesh government. But these people were very illiterate. They did not know what to do with the land. So we took the land from them and we planted 50,000 trees over this 250 acres under the ownership of that particular tribeman only. And now each, and those were mango trees. As you know that Andhra Pradesh has some one of the best varieties of mango. Then the lemon
Wow.
tree, chiku tree, and some intercropping, which is like millets, maize, chilies, tomatoes. And now those tribesmen are actually earning a lot of money using this barren land. And this is called the Ionic Forest in Andhra Pradesh, Kurnool, which we have created. So this was another example which we did, and it was very wonderful. We are so much happy that now in Maharashtra we have already planned that we will be creating an Ionic Forest which will have more than 1 million trees planted. So we are now in the process of discussing, because such a big land, there is no parcel land which is available. But government is planning to give us in two, three different areas, and together we are planning to sow around 10 lakh trees, which is 1 million, in the coming time in this year CY 2025. So along with Maharashtra, along with Tamil Nadu, along with Andhra Pradesh, along with Kolkata East, we are planning to put many such ionic forests, but not only in terms of forest, but also in terms of livelihood, because that's what you were talking about, skill management. So these are some of the initiatives which we feel that if we are able to put forward, we are not only able to increase the flora and fauna of that place, but we are also making people educated. We are giving them livelihood means, and they are all becoming well educated people of the society, thereby contributing to the society and earning money which otherwise they were not. So this is a very beautiful example of creating massive forests out of the barren lands which have been left uncalculated, uncultivated, and also water supply. Now government is also become responsible because they are ensuring good amount of water supply, proper roads over there, and they are using this as a model to also motivate other OEMs and other people to partner with government on such areas.
That's wonderful, Mr. Anand, because it's like you said, it's not only about the environment, it's also about the livelihood that you have created, giving them another hope to especially the tribal people to earn from this plantation drive at large. Wonderful. I also heard you mentioning about something hope. You said
Yeah,
that you have three pillars. I think you've amply explained about earth, but then you have hope and one more. So I would like
mobility,
mobility.
mobility.
So I would like to know about these two aspects as well, and what is Hyundai doing on these two areas, in these areas.
Actually, hope is the name, I suggest, because India is 1.4 billion population, and there are people who are from a very poor background society. They may be very well educated, but how we can bridge the gap between their education and the skilling, and that's where hope comes as a very important phenomena. And I'll go back to the COVID times. If you may recall, during COVID time, there were many classes of society who were not able to get a square meal. Hospitals were packed with patients. There were children who were not able to go to the schools. So we started our first concept, which was called the Project Saksham. Under Project Saksham, we took people from poor background who did not have a good income, and we trained them as a nurse, as a janitor, and as some kind of a, hospital attendant. By we gave them training for 3 months, 4 months, and we also got them employed at some clinics, nursing homes, hospitals, depending upon the availability of that area, so that they could not only become a good human being but also earn around 10 to 15,000 rupees per month by serving the duty of a normal man. And if you may recall, during that time, actually big cities did have good doctors, but smaller towns were devoid of these, patient attendants, janitors, nurses, compounders. So we were able to bridge the gap by providing this education to these poor students. And today, this Saksham project we did in around 7 to 8 states and trained more than 1,000 people by giving them job. Similarly, we started a program called Drive for Progress. Under this Drive for Progress, we have taken this initiative of not only training 1,500 boys and girls so that they can become efficient drivers, but also ensuring that they are employed by some good transport companies, maybe taxi operators, maybe some kind of fleet operators. And today we started this program in Haryana. It is already gone to Tamil Nadu. It is now going to Maharashtra. Very soon it will go to West Bengal. So total 1,500 students will be training. Already more than 400 students have been trained and they've been given the job. So this is another way that we are bridging the gap between the requirement of the education and also making them livelihood. Apart from this, we are also creating some self-help groups. So we have a our training arm in Chennai, wherein we are training women, especially uneducated women, into bakery, into dairy, into cattle managing, and we are giving them free goats, free cows, so that they can manage them and then make their livelihood by getting milk and other dairy products, converting some namkeens or some kind of savory products which they are selling outside in the market. So self-help groups we are converting and we are creating in many villages, which we are doing. That's the third part of our hope program. And another important area which we are doing is called Art for Hope. See, today what happens, we always think about people as doctors, we think of people as students, people as as entrepreneurs. But what about those artists who are very skilled, but they do not have a that kind of a caliber to come on a national platform? So in 2021, after the COVID was almost ebbing out, we looked at these poor people who were having a strong art background. And then we started a scholarship program called Art for Hope, wherein we are giving scholarship of more than 1 lakh rupees for these people to create masterpiece. And then every year on a national day, we are calling them at one place, showcasing their expertise, their skill, and their product, and also their performance, whether it is a physical art or whether it is a performing art. And then we are giving them that grant. And till now, we have already given grant of more than 2 crore rupees to more than 300 plus artists from around 28 states of this country. And these artists now know social media. They have created their own Facebook and Instagram pages, and they're able to sell their merchandise and their art to the bigger part of the society. This is another area where we're working with Art for Hope as one of the initiatives. So what I mean to say is that as a company, if we are able to bring meaning to the life of these people, it will be very good. In fact, last week only, we were with the Honorable Minister of Heavy Industries. We launched a program called Hope Scholarship Program, wherein we have chosen three areas: area of UPSC, area of CLAT, which is law, and the area of IIT. 450 students whose family's annual income is below 3 lakh rupees over year annual income will be choosing them and will be giving them scholarship so that they can pursue important education like UPSC, civil services, law, and then IIT. Already 300 students have been selected and scholarship has been dispersed to them. By end of next month, we should be completing these 450 students and will be finally distributing them these scholarships, which will be more than 3.5 crore over a period of 1 year. So by creating education, skilling, and then giving them hope that they can become a good citizen of this country. That is what our second pillar, which is the pillar of hope, is doing. And the third pillar, which I talked about, is pillar of mobility, because we are a mobility company. I don't say that I'm a manufacturer. I say that I am a person or a company which is providing future mobility solutions. So what we are doing is we are bridging the gap by cutting the carbon footprint. So the first concept which I want to talk about in the mobility aspect is called the telemedicine clinics. If you recall, during COVID times, whereas people in big cities like Delhi, Jaipur, Bangalore, Kolkata had access to very quality healthcare. But what about people who were living in villages?
True.
Did they have the time to come to big places like Jaipur or Delhi? Did they have the money to spend, or did they have the wherewithal to, spend 7 days on a travel, then spend money, stay in the hotel or some lodge? So what we did, we started opening telemedicine centers. So we went to those villages. We opened these satellite clinics through technology, wherein the doctor from a big hospital will give inspection to a patient in a village through video conference, and then through the use of technology also give them in prescription, and from our side we were giving them free medicine. So over these last 2 years we have opened more than 55 telemedicine centers. More than 1 lakh patients have already come. They have taken the prescription, they have taken medicine, and today, and now imagine what has happened. All these patients who were supposed to come to big cities now staying in their home.
They owned.
They are not spending any money, their family is safe, and at the same time they are getting quality education and quality treatment. So this is another area where we are making mobility. Now wherever we cannot set these telemedicine center, we are making mobile medical units. So around 10 mobile medical units equipped with a doctor, nurse, and some important equipment is already running across the country, wherein they are visiting villages, they are visiting small tier 3 cities, and they are also giving them free prescription and medicine. So this is what we are doing in terms of mobility. And the third program which we started last year is called Samarth, wherein people with disabilities are being given special training, whether it is in terms of sports or whether it is in terms of physical equipment like say wheelchairs, etc., so that they can also become a normal working human being. Over the period of time, we have done blind cricket along with Sri Lanka. Last year we did, and India won that blind cricket match. And that is where we are wanting that if technology can be used to make people mobile with the promise of a carbon neutral society, I think that is where our job as a responsible citizen will be done. So this is the third area of mobility wherein we are envisaging that by 2045, Hyundai Motor Group will be carbon neutral. Although India's target is 2070, but our target is 2045. Hyundai Motor Group across the world will be carbon neutral.
Wonderful, Mr. Anand. And the initiatives that you have listed are really inspiring, both in terms of the mobility from the perspective you spoke and also from the hope perspective. I think one take that I take from Hyundai when you said it's the hope and you are training people on driving skills. I think it is
Yes.
also very, very essential from the road safety perspective, because responsible driving in India is another very important major issue, looking at how many people die on road accidents. I think that is another perspective to the same project, which I see as a very as being a automobile company as a very responsible step that you are taking, and I must congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Anand, also looking at 2025 being a year of hope and how we are implementing, is there anything that you would like to share about the initiatives that you're going to take in next 2 years, specifically from the environment perspective? And since we talk largely about sustainability and circularity, as an automobile manufacturer OEM, what or how are you looking at Hyundai taking circularity in its mainstream?
So I think, as I mentioned, that all the programs which I have mentioned in the previous, couple of minutes will definitely get enhanced, because, as I said, that it's a slow move. We are working in a country as big as India, 28 states, 8 union territories, 1.4 billion population. So for us also to reach every nook and corner of the country will take time. So all these projects which I'm talking currently are already in some 15, 16 states. So we have almost half of the country still to be won. Having said that, there are some programs which we feel will be more important. For example, when you talk about road safety has been our initiative right from 2015, in fact, to say, when we started a program called Be the Better Guy. And this is still today as one of the strong pillars of our success. So we call it Easy Roads. The overall pillar is, the theme is Easy Roads, under which we have various programs. Now I'll just tell you that we have partnered with the government of Haryana, and we have set up a traffic engineering center wherein 1100 cameras of the entire Gurgaon city will be feeding their video feed to one center which is called the Traffic TEC. This will be based in the district police headquarters, and there will be specialists who will not only be managing the traffic from those cameras but also study the quality and the road safety aspects of that particular traffic interjection. Because if you see, in India, the accidents may or may not happen only by the problem or the concerns related to the driver, but there could be some issues related to road engineering, road visibility, signs visibility. So we are actually doing a lot of research on these areas. So we have tied up with some road organizations, with some technology providers, and we will be studying each and every of these aspects. We started this in Tamil Nadu, in Anna Nagar, where we put these smart cameras, and now we are working along with Gurgaon Police. So that is one initiative which will be taking into many other places across the country, because we are now having the entire technology with us, and it is just a matter of replicating them.
Yeah.
Another area which we are very strongly working upon is, as I said, we would be renewable energy by 2025. So this year, Hyundai will become 100% utilization of renewable energy. Currently, we are at around 65%. We have solar cells in our plant. We have 6 ponds in Tamil Nadu. So we are almost water independent. We also have, as I mentioned, waste management areas wherein all the waste is being taken to the waste management centers. At the same time, we are now also process of balance 35% of renewable energy by the end of this year we'll be achieving, so that our plant operations, which are basically a big, I would say, reason for the carbon emissions, will be able to make it 100% renewable energy by 2025. This is another mission which we have taken, so that our ultimate goal of carbon neutrality by 2045 is achieved through these steps. Even our new plant, which is coming in Maharashtra at Talegaon, it will also be renewable energy. By the time it starts operating, it will be 100% RE at Maharashtra also. So this is another new area where we are working upon. And very soon, we are now working with especially the government of Maharashtra, with the government of Haryana, and with the government of Tamil Nadu. We'll be setting up some meaningful training centers. So the first of this kind, which is called the Hyundai Academy of Technical Skill, will be set up in Tamil Nadu. It is a very big campus wherein we'll not only be providing meaningful training to the poor people, but also giving them jobs. So it will be the center where entrepreneurship, skills like carpentry, skills like driving, skills like technical apprenticeship will all be taught to these people. Around 5,000 students every year from various parts of India will be taken, and they will be trained at those technical skill centers. So the first center, we have already taken the land. The construction is almost started, and within 1 year, this technical center, which will help us to bridge the gap between the requirement of trained manpower and also skill building, will be bridged by using these HATS, which we call it. So this is will also be replicated in many parts. We are now working with the education authorities in various states, wherein we are starting program called Vidya Vahini. Vidya Vahini is called library on wheels. So small places where people do not have access to quality education, especially the children who are not able to study science, will be taking the science projects to their schools, and practical demonstration of science, like what is human autonomy, what is eye made of, what is human body, what are the various cycles, how solar eclipse happen. All these experiments in the form of physical models will be displayed to these students. So we have started this pilot in Uttar Pradesh, and very soon we'll be taking it into other states also. The third area which we are starting is called the Sports Lab. Sports Lab is an initiative because sports in India still is not a very serious profession. People just want, oh, parents are saying, okay, just go play cricket and come back. But Whether by playing cricket are you becoming a skilled person, do you want to take sports as a real career path? That is what we are going to address through the sports lab. So we have put our first sports lab in Haryana and in Punjab, and now we are starting the skills in the various other states also. So this will be another area where we have tied up. In fact, Saina Nehwal appreciated our sports lab in Haryana, where we also set up a trauma center for the physical ailments. Because today you may give a lot of training, but there will be physical sports injury. So sports injury center also has been set up just 2 3 months back in Haryana. So these are various new initiatives which we are working towards bridging the gap, making people self-dependent, giving the hope to the society, bringing more and more environmental norms, and also making mobility as a true mobility for each and every person of this country. So these are some of the initiatives which we have already planned, and by CY 2025, I mean, since we work on financial year for the CSR activities, this will be done. But nevertheless, whether it is CSR or non-CSR, our plant operations will definitely be very important for us going forward to cut our carbon footprint.
Wonderful, Mr. Anand. I think you have very well explained how you are looking at skilling, how you're looking at sports as a main career, which is important from the perspective of the Indian government as well. Also, looking at the trauma center, which is very encouraging because this is an area which is usually not looked at while we are looking at sports as a profession. To all the technical centers that you have been talking about, it all the initiatives have been wonderful, and I would like to applaud Hyundai for that. One last question before I wind up, and I could not wind this up without asking.
Mhm.
We see a huge skill gap in sustainability and when it comes to implementing sustainability. One are the policies that are being made, but on the other hand are the people who would implement it in the industry. And we see that there is a huge gap. So while you are planning so much on in India through either your CSR activities or without the CSR, I'm sure there are some challenges when you have your own commitments to sustainability and circularity and the way you implement it. How is Hyundai meeting these challenges? Especially, I would like to focus on skilling part, on the part of manpower that might be required to drive these projects. How are you looking at that area, or what are the challenges there, and how you're overcoming these challenges?
So I think this is one of the most important challenge which we have to address in the coming years. As you know that recently Hyundai also became a listed company. We brought the biggest IPO of this country, which was more than 27,000 crore. It was fully subscribed.
Yeah.
But it also throws a lot of responsibilities on us as a seasoned automotive manufacturer. Not only now each and every step of us will be watched, but we'll also be answerable for each and every carbon footprint which we bring into this country. And that's why, even before that, we are in the process of setting up a complete ecosystem in our plant operations, in our headquarter operations, in our field operations, and also globally speaking at our parent company, which is in Korea. To be very honest with you, recently we had a complete ESG audit of the entire HMIL operations. So we worked with some of the seasoned players who gave us a lot of insights. So last 2 years, after these audits have been done, we have really found a lot of improvement areas which we are working upon. We have already achieved a lot of them, but and at the same time, we are also recruiting special manpower. For example, one person from our team has been specially trained on these ESG and BRSR practices. We have now inducted people from the law background who are also working towards creating education in terms of compliance, in terms of environmental activities, in terms of EPR laws, so that it can become more easily understood by the people who are running the show. At the vendor end, our procurement team is very closely working upon training the vendor and the manpower in terms of their carbon footprints. Recently, you must have seen one story which we did day before yesterday, that 26% of the transport of our cars from our factory to the various parts of the country was done by rail. We were earlier dependent only on trucks, and trucks create a lot of carbon footprint. So we have actually started adopting meaningful ways of doing it through rakes. So we are in touch with the central railway authorities so that we can get more and more rakes, for because it's not only faster, but at the same time, it also more meaningful in terms of electric trains which are now running. So from that perspective, we are also strengthening our own organization. We are putting up checks and balances, and we are training each and every person, whether it is in plant, whether it is in headquarter, whether it is in the regional office, or even at the headquarters in terms of our CSR operations. We are creating a complete change in the mindset what we are doing. In fact, if you ever come to our office in Gurugram is itself an example of a green building. Every all the lights which are smart lights, so at particular time all the lights also go off, like each floor whenever there is a lunch break the lights will go off. In the night time the all lights will automatically dim down. We have a complete green wall which is based in our headquarters, so it's a live plant which we have put. Complete wall is a beautiful place. You can see it maybe whenever you are over here. If you we can invite you, you would love to see what we are doing in our plant also, in our headquarters also. Even in our factory we are using, as I said, RE100. Even at our dealerships we have started implementing solar panels. We have started implementing transparent sheets, so that less and less of the
Light.
electricity needs to be used. And that's where we are also bringing meaningful change into the mindset of the people. But having said that, again, as I said, that these are humble steps. There is a lot of paths to be tread. There are also a lot of learnings which are coming our way, and I'm sure in coming times we not only will be able to demonstrate the importance of the circular economy, these social governance models, but at the same time ensure that our product which is manufactured in our factory is a green product, is a meaningful product, is a product which talks about future mobility, and not only transporting people from one place to the other. We are also talking of hydrogen systems. In fact, during this Bharat Mobility Show, not only we are unveiling our the electric Creta, we are also showcasing our hydrogen technology, because we are very strong in hydrogen. So we are tied up with Indian Oil, we are tied up with IIT Chennai to make a complete ecosystem in terms of hydrogen economy also. So I think these are some steps which very soon will take shape, and by 2030, as the government has already envisioned, we should be looking at a very green economy as far as automotive practices and technology is concerned.
That's wonderful. Mr. Anand, from the collaborations with the local community, the tribal people, from organizing awareness to promoting education and sustainability, looking at becoming 100% renewable by the end of this year, I think is applaudable. Beyond that, your own vision of the country, both in terms of India and at the global level, is remarkable. And I believe today's discussion is a learning for a lot of us, learning from the examples at Hyundai, from your experience. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for spending this time with us. It was really nice to learn about what Hyundai is doing, and we will look forward to the changes that you are saying and bringing around in India, specifically in the states where you're working and also beyond the states where you're working in the coming years, for to say. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for being with us. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, thank you. It was my pleasure, and thanks for such a wonderful interaction. A lot of learnings from your side, and I think some of the very meaningful thoughts which you've given will also be food for thought for us going forward in terms of our operations.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.